Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Thursday, August 18th, 2016, and Friday, August 19th. As usual, we will not be doing a market preview tomorrow night for Friday. We don't tend to do them for Fridays. We certainly won't do them for summer Fridays, where we're getting market volume mornings, and we aren't going to do it on expiration Fridays. So this will cover the rest of the week and what's coming our way. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the S&P. Absolutely nothing gained or lost for the session, as you can see. We'll talk about where the indices are in a minute. I think the biggest thing to note here is that we're basically a month in the 22-point range or something stupid like that. There's nothing going on. So nobody's making billions in this particular environment. We're more interested in whether the construction's good on the long side or we're getting downside signals in the market, and that's our current question. So here's a look at crude oil down 5 cents to 46.75, not a big deal. Gold gained 9.40, still between the green and the red static trend line. The S&P was up 4 after triggering lower earlier. NDX is up 8.26, still under the 13 sell signal risk level. So that's still in place. That's a sell signal on the market, by the way. SOX, now this is interesting, literally unchanged. How often do you see an index unchanged like that? We do, though, if I go to projection mode, as you see here, we did get a 9-bar new startup phase, which means it recycled the what would have been 12th bar in a seeker count. So that's not there. Biotech's down 1.95, which is essentially flat for biotechs. VIX down 0.45 after being up a little bit higher. Made it back to 14, which is a more reasonable number than the 11 and change it's been at for a while. The trend went 1.17. That brings the 10-day moving average to 0.96, which is not a signal either way on the market. NASDAQ volume 1.6 billion shares. The best of the week, but really wasn't that impressive. Excuse me. Advanced decline ratio negative 544 on the New York, plus 134 on the NASDAQ. So pretty much even distribution of up and down stocks. Google gained 4, still well under the 13 sell signal, which was the high candle a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago. Apple down 16 cents, which is a blip. Amazon, even more of a blip, up 59 cents. That's nothing. Netflix up 125. Let's go back to the NDX for a minute. Notice that we did dip under the 10-day moving average and then came back and recovered it. So just be aware that that happened. Here's the 5-minute chart of the ES. This is the front month futures contract. We basically opened with a very tiny gap down, went lower, flattened out for like an hour and a half. We were going into lunch at the low of the day, came back up over lunch, which is a weird time for that. Filled the gap right at the so the Fed released the minutes of the last Fed meeting. That caused that one spike down and then the reversal back up in about 15-minute window. That filled the gap. We retreated from that, and then they went back up just for the very end of the session. Meanwhile, the NASDAQ side intraday didn't close at highs. Basically closed even, as you can see. Nothing exciting in all of it. It's still a volume problem. It's still everything else. We're just here trying to find some really key setups. The opening range plays for futures work great. We made some great money there. It's August doldrums, folks. There's not much else to say. With expiration this week and without getting a real big options unraveling move, unless that was the lift in the second half of the day, which wasn't huge. 10 points on the S&P doesn't usually cover it. Then really what we're looking at here is, unless we get some kind of options unravel on Thursday still, the week is over. Friday's going to be a waste of time due to options expiration, and there's nothing else to say. I mean, we're pretty much dead. Now the question becomes, last year we had some excitement around options expiration, so do we pick up in the next week or two? Remember, we've got 2 weeks left. We got a full week of August, the 22nd through the 26th next week, and then we've got the 29th through the 2nd of September. So we've got 2 full weeks before Labor Day. And then you get Labor Day. And then, of course, after that, that's usually when universally everybody's back from summer vacation and all that stuff. So if things don't pick up before then, they pick up then. Last year, they picked up right around now. And everything headed lower, and we made a bunch of money for a week or so because everything tanked. And that was all around options expiration. Is that going to happen this year? I mean, I don't know that there's a catalyst for it, but obviously, you show up every day just in case it happens. So economic data coming out on Thursday. Initial and continuing jobless claims in Philly Fed an hour before the bell. Philly Fed used to be 30 minutes in, by the way. Leading indicators 30 minutes in. Natty gas an hour into the market. Friday, because we're not doing another preview, Options expiration for August. It's a single expiration. There's probably not a lot of open interest out there, so it probably isn't going to do much. There's no other economic data, so that's not going to help. I would tell you right now, Friday, options expiration in August is either one of the slowest days of the year or, like last year, super exciting because the options protection is gone and everything falls apart. If we don't start to fall apart Thursday, though, it's hard to see how Friday is going to be a big deal. We will be in the lab calling it. We'll figure it out. We'll be here all day Thursday, and some of us will be here the first hour or two on Friday. If it's not exciting at that point and volume's dead on Friday, there's no point in sticking around for the second half of Friday. Have a great weekend. We're getting close to being done with these summer doldrums and get back to the real work of trading, even if nothing happens the next week or two. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 12. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out even better after Labor Day. Have a great week.